Hello everyone, and welcome to our first intro to flow. So we're going to start to incorporate not only the static mobility postures that we've explored in the past, not only breath work in a static position, but how we can start to put these two elements together to expand our dynamic mobility while staying in touch with our breath, which is A, going to make us perform better, and B, going to make us feel better. So this is a bit of a glimpse into the flow classes that we're going to continue to offer on Zoom, through YouTube and Instagram, as you'll see here, and in person if you find yourself back in the building. So we're going to be starting on the floor. I'm going to show you a couple of different vantage points. So you're going to want just a bit of comfortable space to move and sit on. I'm going to be sitting nice and tall with my spine and what we call the bear sit position. So my hips are in external rotation. I'm going to use my elbows to prop those knees wide, but I keep myself pulling tall, like a string is pulling the crown of my head upright. So you should feel a bit of stuff happening in here, and you should feel yourself working with your core engaged to stay tall. We're actually going to be working the neck from this position. Just gives us a chance to get a 2-for-1 here. So we get some hip stuff while we work our neck. So let's start to set into our breath. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Still staying engaged. We're going to roll the shoulders back and down. Get a little bit taller, and we start to bring the chin into the chest. Finding a stretch on the back side of the neck. We're going to start to scrape along the collarbone over to the right side. Looking out over the shoulder, slowly tipping the ear down, chin up to the ceiling. We're going to roll our way to the other side, finding a stretch on the throat. Left ear drops to shoulder. Pause and rotate. Chin to shoulder. Scrape into the center and reverse at the midpoint. Keeping the chin as close to the chest as possible, we dip the ear down. Chin comes up. We stay tall as we make our way over to the other side. Ear to shoulder. Chin to shoulder, still breathing here. Back to center, and slowly rolling our way out. From here, we're going to just shift our position a bit. You're going to come to the tops of the feet in a low kneeling position. If you can stay here, please do. If you need something, you can put a blanket or a pillow between your thighs and your calves to cut the angle. Otherwise, hands plant right in front of the knees, and we actively push the floor away with both arms, rolling the chin into the chest, just like we did earlier. And now starting to breathe into the backside, getting round. The spine lifts toward the ceiling. Hands stay heavy. Hips stay heavy. We get as round as we can, and then a little bit more. Breathing. And on the exhale, we start to let our belly drop to the thighs. Rounding into deep spine extension. Gaze will lift at the top. And we pull hands and knees together on the floor. Let's go one more, just like that, chin into chest. Starting to round one vertebrae at a time. Keeping a nice steady breath, working to keep those hands heavy and those hips heavy on the heels. And we reverse here, belly to thighs, chest pushes through the shoulders, and we lift the gaze. Find yourself a little bit more by pulling hands and knees together. Slowly, we're just going to shift into this nice quadruped position. So I find we've got hands below shoulders, knees below hips, and we shift ourselves out just a little bit over top those fingertips. Bending the elbows slightly, rolling the shoulders back. You should feel your triceps engaged here. Now we're doing the same thing we just did, but with the full spine instead of just the top part. We're going to start to unload the spine one vertebrae at a time. Getting as tall as we can, up, up, up. Chin into the chest, we keep the elbows bent and the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing into the back side of the body, we're going to start in the opposite direction, coming into extension, loading our spine one vertebrae at a time. One more each way, trying to find more sensation and more control with every rep. Try to get the roundest you've ever been here. still connected to your breath. And then try to find the deepest, most evenly distributed line of extension you've ever found here. So don't just jump into the low spine, find more all along from the top to the tailbone. And raise it out now. While we're here, I'm going to turn just so you can see. I'm still in that quadruped position. I'm just going to flip my elbow pits forward and back. So you'll see nothing changes about my base, but the elbows are going to face each other, face forward, and then face back toward me. Just back and forth, keeping the hands planted, feeling that rotation all the way up to the shoulders. Back to a different vantage point. From here, we're going to work the wrists a little bit, so start to shift yourself out as far as you can, and back off. So you should find your edge, come right up against it, and then ease your way out. Making big circles now, hitting all the edges of your hands. Trying to keep the heel and the palm flat. And we reverse, other way. Back to neutral. We're going to roll and peel and switch hands. So I peel to the top of my hand and roll myself back to that starting point. Back and forth, side to side. Finding a little bit of stretch on the top side of the hand. Maybe moving in a way that you're not used to. From here, your hands and knees, we're just going to shift our weight back over top of our heels. So now, my knees are hovering just off the floor. I'm going to walk, walk, walk to plank. From here, up dog. Deep breath. And then I start my walk back to where we started. Back again. Up dog and breathe. Plank. And control on the way back. On the next back, go ahead and sit onto the tops of your feet and sink into a nice child's pose. Final wave out and step forward, mountain climber. Step back, child's pose. Roll, other side, back and forth. We'll add a twist here, so we roll, step, inside the hand reaches up, we find a nice spinal twist, easing back down, other side. One more each side. Slowly rolling our way out, flipping ourselves around to crab position. So I'm going to be nice and compact here. Fingers are facing toward my hips, and I'm tall with my chest. We're going to start out here. Crab to tabletop. We go up, down. If you can, you'll try to hover the hips. If you need to, you can sit and readjust. We go back and forth here for 5. your last breath, you're gonna slowly make your way up to stand. And the last thing that we're gonna work on is a low lunge. So go ahead and find your feet wider than hips width. Hands can be comfortably at chest height, or you can have them behind the head. If behind the head, you want them elbows pulling apart, keeping you in a nice tall spine. So we're wide here. We're gonna slowly start to sit out over top a single leg. I should be able to remove the extended leg, I won't, but just to show you the weight distribution. And now we're gonna shift to the other side, back and forth, finding a full transfer of weight before we go over to the other side. As you get more comfortable, you can start to go lower into a full Cossack squat. Goal here would be to keep the foot flat. So we have to work on our ankle here. Heel has to stay planted the whole time. And after 5 per side, slowly make your way back up to standing. And that is going to be class for today.